voices. I have 2 ears, and I have heard many stories.
I am prisoners, not one prisoner, but many. I have one mouth, but speak with many voices. I have 2 ears. I have heard many stories.
I am tall, short, all shades of color.
Male, female, vicious, kind, and don't give a damn. I do time.
I do time an 8-hour shift.
I do time all the time.
I am public.
I am public.
I am public.
I am public.
I am public. We are mothers,
Father.
sisters.
Brothers.
We are the people who live in communities where 20 prisons are built every year for the past 20 years.
You gotta be kidding. You're telling me that in the United States of America, 50 new prisons have been built every year for the past 20 years? Who would believe that?
It's a fact. We are the victims of crimes.
We are the families of guards. We're the families of prisoners.
That's right.
Not us.
We are good Christians. We don't break the law.
Nobody in my family's ever gone to jail.
Hey, wait a minute. My son is in prison, and he's a good man. Not everybody in prison is bad.
Not everybody in prison is good. You do the crime, you do the time.
Yeah, I used to think that way until my child lived up in jail for doing a little bit of nothing. And all his friends went free as birds.
Point. We live in the United States of America where 1 out of 138 of us has done time.
Schedule. Maximum security. State prison. It's 2 a.m. Pick up mail from buildings now.
I can't say my son was a perfect child, but he grew up to be a good man.
He was the first one in our family to ever go to college. Said he didn't want to spend his life working in the coal mines and end up broken down like his daddy done.
No, sir. He wanted a state job.
He wanted benefits. He wanted to be a park ranger.
Well, it turned out there weren't any forest rangers' jobs to be had.
So somebody said, why don't you come to work at the new prison? It's a government job.
So he went clear to the other end of the state.
And took prison training.
I started out at one of the older maximum security state prisons. We had no weapons, just keys. If the keys were taken from you, everything could be lost. My first day on the job, I was assigned to let the inmates on the 2nd tier pass through the gate to go eat. The lead officer was stationed a floor above me. He was supposed to flip open 2 cells at a time. Then I was supposed to unlock the tier gate, let the 2 prisoners pass through, lock the gate back, and wait for him to unlock the next 2 cells. I took my place by the gate as I was instructed, but the lead officer flipped the master switch and let all of them, all 88 of them, out of their cells at once. I threw my keys under the locked tier gate as I've been trained to do. I was now responsible for getting every single one of the 88 back into their cells. Remember, I had no weapon. There were no words to describe the way I felt. I'd never been locked in with 88 men and just as soon see me dead. But I maintained my post by the gate and somehow, I don't know how, got them all back in their cells. When it was all over, I stormed up to the lead officer's post and grabbed hold of the rail in front of him to keep from strangling him. I fully intended to kill the son of a bitch. He just laughed, said, "Looks like you didn't wet yourself or cry like a baby. You might make it here."
Listen up. It's 3:35 a.m. Prison, kitchen workers, get in place now.
If you cause any kind of trouble, I'll shoot you. That was my welcome to the supermax from the correction officer as I got off the bus. Then he yanked my eyeglasses from my face. Said, "These are dangerous contrabands." I was shackled at the ankles. My hands were cuffed in front of me and chained to my waist with a belly chain. The CO, who was budding and shotgun, yells, "This ain't church, this ain't school. It ain't a place to rehabilitate yourself, it's prison." I knelt on the floor and slid the door. About 3 feet from the ground, I opened. I was ordered to stick my hands through it, and the cuffs were removed. Now strip, they both barked. What he said next and what I had to do was so loud I will not repeat. will tell you what I was thinking. It won't be fun when the rabbit gets the gun. No, sir, it won't.
When my son was incarcerated, he was in college, and I wanted to keep him going. My whole attitude was, though he's in prison, prison does not have to be in him.
But when he first went to prison, he refused to see us.
He felt his life was over.
First year, I didn't think he'd make it. I thought he'd commit suicide.
We are a close religious family, and we refuse, absolutely refuse to give up. Keep coming to visit him, his brothers and aunts and uncles, everybody.
And today, 5 years later, he's taking correspondence classes to finish his college degree. He's tutoring other inmates who can't read or write.
A voice for the voiceless. I represent the ones that yearn to be heard, so every word is a testimony. This one is for my homie, locked up and wondering, how can we fix this system? They got so many locked in prison. Brothers and fathers missing, wifeys and mothers kissing, pictures of prodigal sons, praying for their return, learning to live without them, never forgot about them. But it's hard when he's 19 years old, no chance of parole. Nothing to lose, so it's just another night in the hole. The only way to console the fears of dying here is to pray and put pen to paper, show that he's trying here to make the most of the worst, break the curse of this nation, hooked on incarceration, 21st century plantation. I fly 1,000 kites for my homies with the hope that this message and these blessings reach all my homies. And it's sad that us community fail to see that we accept a policy that provides democracy to be hypocrisy, building cages for babies. Why try to teach them or reach them before mistakes can be made? There's way too much money to be made. We're all just getting played, while the rich keep getting paid. It's time to examine the reasons why these laws have been made. I fly 1,000 kites for my homies, with the hope that this message and these blessings reach all my homies. I fly 1,000 kites for my homies, with the hope that this message and these blessings reach.
Listen up. It's 5 a.m. Time for insulin injections, finger sticks, and shots.
I'm raising my kids in a place out in the country. Crime just never played a role in our life. I mean, it really did. I would leave my keys in the front door so I know where they were.
Crime in the city, it's hard to tell who's the worst, the gang or the police. Every day I feel like my babies are being hunted like animals.
My baby sister, who I raised, is on the needle. Yesterday I had to go to court with her. Right when we were ready to go up before the judge, she grabs hold of my arm and whispers, "Don't worry, I'm Wonder Woman." I actually said she was Wonder Woman, that nothing could hurt her. Then she whispers in my ear, "I just bought 2 new tires for my Chevy Cavalier, you know, to outrun the police. Don't tell." Well, I've known the judge most of my life, and I was talking to him, and I'm like, what are we going to do about this situation here? She's crazy. We need to go ahead and get her incarcerated. She can't stop using. She won't. And he's like, it's just the system. Can't rush it up. She comes from a good home. Blah, blah, blah.
Well, here recently, in the space of 1 year, I went to 2 funerals for kids in their 20s. One was a kid who hung himself while he was in jail, and the other was a drug overdose. I happened to mention to this young lady that I know, I said, when I was your age, I didn't know anybody my age who had died. And she said,
I couldn't tell you the number of my friends who are either dead or in jail.
Dead or in jail?
One's dead.
I want to be a criminal when I grow up, because criminals live good and have all the luck. I can't have a bike because my mom's too poor, and my dad's been gone since I was 3 or 4. And what's all the fuss about going to school when getting A's and B's don't seem too cool? I'm not feeling school because I need to get money. Plus I know about the streets, so I ain't no dummy. I've already been to jail and it wasn't too bad. And after the first few days, Mom wasn't that mad. I seen a hell of a lot of just to be in my teens, so I'm really a man with criminal dreams. I know the drug game will really pay off, but I gotta get a gun to prove I'm not soft. Look at all this cash and I don't have a job. And when things go slow, I got the gun to rob. I'm a gangster now, so I will pull the trigger. Besides, who cares about another dead figure? I don't know anything about this legal stuff, and I hate wearing these tight-ass cuffs. I better take the plea, because I can't beat the case. There had too many people identify my face. Everyone I call has a block on their phone. But how can that be when I'm so well known? I got a federal judge, and they say he's mean. I never saw this in my criminal dreams. In prison, what I thought. If I wasn't getting high, I would have never got caught. I gotta hurt the first one who steps out of line. But if I hurt him too bad, I'm gonna run up my time. The word seems to be, don't go to the hole. My life sure changed since the first day I stole. Last year, a man got shot for fighting, but it's not really the news because nobody's right. If I stay up late, I can hear the screams, but I never heard them in my criminal dreams.
It's 5:30 a.m. Pill call. General population in vestibules now. Segregation in park.
When they took my son to jail, he was in a wheelchair because he had just had both of his knees replaced. He was put in a real little room where there were no beds or nothing. He spent 4 weeks on the floor. I done okay at the jail, but once I got back to the house, and I realized that I probably wouldn't live to see him come home.
They took my baby sister on from the courthouse up to jail. Then I tried to find out things, but I couldn't find out anything. So I went home, and she called, said there were 8 people in her cell. No bed and no pillow. As a child, she always slept with 3 pillows. So I got back in the car, we went to Walmart and bought her a pillow. I took it to the jail, but the office at the desk said, no, we don't allow that.
Just one pillow?
She never hurt anybody.
It's 6 a.m. Breakfast. Segregation food cart delivered. General population according to feeding schedule.
Prison food. My son says you'll end up with the weirdest stuff served to you. Not food so much, but like condiments. You get it Old Charlie's, ketchup pack, McDonald's napkins, companies are using this tax write-offs.
I used to eat with the same guys. One of them was originally from Cambodia. We closely inspected our food for hair, bugs, and mud. The Cambodian guy always gave me his milk. I tell him, why don't you drink it? At least it's something they can't mess with. He says, how in the world can you drink that stuff? They treat us like animals, then feed us pet food. I said, what are you talking about, pet food? He says, look at the carton of milk, man. It's right there. Pet milk.
You want to know what my day is like? Well, it starts 5:30, and that's with that bright ass light. Next comes breakfast at 6:30. The coffee's cold and the tray's dirty. First coffee, showers, and red. CO already checked myself. I break sweat. Nothing new to them shaking my cell down. Happens all the time. Still messes with my mind. Go out the yard for a break and come back. Now it's time to hit the sack. Wake up an hour later to some cold cuts for lunch. I think it's turkey bologna, but that's just a hunch. Then I get my read on with the TV on. Guys see my soaps. Damn, Ricky done fired Phyllis for sleeping with Nick. Sharon's pissed. But is anyone left that she's not kissed? Then it reads, sleep, eat, stand. Inappropriate behavior with my hand. Hey, it happens. No need to be snapping. 6:30 mail call. Everyone stands. Many knowing it's just a mirage. At 11, I catch the news. Jay Leno and a little Jimmy Kimmel live. Yeah, no lie. I stay up late, but only for blind date. So that's a day in the life of a convicted felon. I've been doing time 11 years for no telling. Enough talk, I got to get some rest. I wake up tomorrow, same place, same stress. Day in, day out, same plight, same bright ass light.
Listen up. It's 6:30 a.m. Prisoner count. Time for standing. Stand until the count is complete. Remain standing until the count is complete.
If you step across the red painted line without permission, it will be considered an act of aggression and will result in the use of firepower.
All of this is new to me, but you can bet I caught on fast. I guess you could say that prison is a poor man's college, the school of life. You learn about surviving, because at any given time you can be killed.
If you approach any person too fast, it will be considered an act of aggression and will result in the use of firepower.
The officers don't give a damn what happens to you. You're here for 8 hours. If an inmate was to be killed in that 8 hours, they still get that paycheck and go home to their families.
Some of the officers at the Supermax feel like they have a lot of authority over the inmates. Some of them have never dealt with anything like this, and I think it goes to their head. And a lot of inmates, when they come in here, they come from the cities up north. Most of the correction officers are white, and most of the inmates are black. It bothers the prison. You know, they say, you're a white person, you're guarding me, and you know it's not right because I'm black. They think we're KKK or something like that.
The first time I let a fellow inmate borrow $5, he didn't pay me back. $5 and beat the crap out of him. I did it in front of everybody because I wanted everyone to see I was for real. I was put in the hole for 10 days. When I got out the hole, I was told that the dude that owed me the $5 had been turned into a punk. Sure enough, a child, the new owner of this pump, comes up to me and pays me back the $5. So that was the end of another lesson learned.
Who's weak and who ain't matters in prison.
That's what it's all about.
9 a.m. Outside recreation, general population. Rotate, building, commissary.
When they incarcerated your child, they incarcerated the whole family. Because that happens to me. I never voted. My family never voted. We just stayed home, minding our own business. Now, I wound up at the state capitol talking to the senators and delegates. And really, I see they are no better than we are. They're climbing a political ladder, trying to look good to the public out here. But they are not concentrating on what's important.
To beat it all, they must think we're millionaires. Prisons only give my sons 2 rolls of toilet paper and a cake of soap a month. Everything else he has to buy on his prison canteen. We have to send him $100 a week because of such ridiculous prices.
To talk to loved ones in prison, you might as well take out a bank loan. The prison charges us $2.50 to hook up each call and 20 cents a minute.
They make a lot of money off of us, you know.
Good Lord, do they think we're millionaires?
Folks in the White House, thieves in the hall, they all join hands at the scoundrel ball.
They dance around day after day. When it's time to play the fiddler, guess who pays?
Found a big meth lab in the house next door, and Walmart built a superstore.
Want to build another Supermax prison, they say. Everything's super around here.
Rogues in the White House, thieves in the hall, they all join hands at the scoundrel's ball. They dance around day after day. When it's time to pay the fiddler, guess who pays?
Listen up. It's 11 a.m. Lunch, segregation, food cart delivered. Meals, fed in pods.
You'll get 2 people with the same offense sentenced in entirely different ways, where one will get 2 years and one will get 18 years, no parole. It's all according to what's hot in the judge's jurisdiction. If everybody's worried about methamphetamine, then that's who gets the big sentences. Bigger than murderers sometimes. When I first started working at the Supermax, all the prisoners came here to the mountains from far away, most from the cities. But that's changing, mostly because there's no funding in the mountains for substance abuse treatment. It's not popular, so they put them in prison. The other day, a new inmate gave me a strange look and called me by my full name. Turned out he was a boy I went to school with over at Caney Ridge. I never would have known him. He looked as old as my dad. I don't see no faces. I don't feel no pain. Population, civilian, they're all the same.
Bert, somebody call my name.
Black and white, rich and poor, thief, murderer, boy next door.
Heard somebody call my name.
Through all this grief, despair, and pain, I heard somebody call my name.
Can't talk to my father, can't talk to my wife. They're living their lives while I'm doing life.
Heard somebody call my name.
I keep having this dream and I wake up with a shout. I get to the gate and I can't get out.
Heard somebody call my name.
Through all this grief, despair, and pain, I heard someone call my name.
It's 1:30 p.m. Prisoner count to start now. Remain standing till count is complete.
I work in the library. I'm one of the few who has a job. Most of these guys have to stay in their cells all day with nothing to do. Every time I'm escorted to the library, they do a strip search. One of the guards obviously has issues. While he's conducting his search, he looks very closely at all the wrong places that sweat produces. Sometimes he's eating popcorn like it's dinner and a movie for him.
Some prisoners you never hear a peep out of. They're no different from you or me. And there are those who get in trouble most every day. They end up in segregation.
When I was in the hole, the guy in the next cell threw his tray on the officer. I thought to myself, this guy must be crazy. 30 minutes go by, and all I could hear was this guy begging the officer to not beat see them anymore. I can hear them crying like a little girl. You see, if you do something to one of these officers, they're not going to fight you one-on-one. They're going to come at you 10 strong.
Adrenaline takes over when there is a dangerous incident with an inmate. But I must keep a cool head, a stone face, never raise my voice, stand my ground, never show fear. Afterwards, when I'm filling out the incident report, my hand shakes so bad, I have to write it over 3 times. But I never let anyone know this. Nobody, not even my wife.
Me and my husband and my son and daughter-in-law had always been church-going people. We were faithful, going to church almost every night of the week. But it got to where my son didn't really care that much about going to church. When he came home from work, he spent most of his time on the telephone talking to the people he worked for at the prison. He pulled away from his wife, his family, from everything. Just left us behind. That prison life became his whole life.
I kept a diary for the first year I worked in the prison. At the end of each day's entry, it said, "That's it, I quit."
Visitation, dress regulation. Visitors may wear casual dress that is reasonable and appropriate. The department reserves the right to refuse admittance to inappropriately dressed visitors. The body must be covered. Hems, slits, or splits of dresses, skirts, shorts, etc. may not exceed 4 inches above mid-knee. Underwear is required. No halter tops, tank tops, or tube tops. No pocketbooks, handbags, or wallets are allowed in the visiting room. Males dressed as females will not be admitted, not under any circumstance.
Families and mothers in particular, they see their kids like they were when they were little. The mamas don't see the things their sons do here. During visitation, some families actually come up to me and rake me over the coals for being mean to their little boys. And then there are others who tell me to beat the crap out of their kid because last week he talked bad to them on the phone. I'm serious.
When we go see my son, we leave home after I get off from work and drive all night. My husband and daughter-in-law and her 2 babies go with us. We get to the prison about 6 the next morning. They don't open until 8:30. So we sit and wait. If we find out that they're in lockdown and there's no visitation that day, we just have to turn around and drive all the way back home.
I hadn't seen my son in 5 years because it was too far to come. And I had no way to get there. When I finally saw him, I was like, what's the shackles all about?
Negativity is engraved in the mind of the slave, who walks around the prison yards content in his grave. He don't want to be saved because he's afraid of life. He'd rather hold tight while his fam visit the site and drop flowers off in the form of currency, because currently he's lying 6 feet under. Their fears are fed as their tears are shed. They want to see him alive, but he's here instead. Words get said in ways that seem kind of scary. Letters are wrote and read like obituaries. I miss you, son. I miss you, brother and friend. A whole time that was spent in good remembrance. When he calls on the phone, they speak to his ghost. Sometimes mom's voice cracks because she missed him the most. His kids need him the most. Yeah, they're feeling the pain. They only know daddy because they remember his name. It's a crying shame. That's why stains be on pillows and weeping willows mourn for his black widow. But he's sub-zero to the fact that he needs to rise out of his habitat
damages that we are giving to inmates in prison, or you can just imagine.
Sparkling cords of razor tip ribbons, on top of a metal mesh fence, freshly washed by rain, the glint of sun on gray metal, glistening helix with tiny teeth. It catches my eye for a moment. I am trapped within. My eye can soar to the heavens. My heart is blind to the scene. My mind is struck with a memory. Ribbons of wire with tiny teeth, carefully designed to cut cloth and flesh. Now catches sparks of sun. Exfoliation and moment's hesitation, helix bejeweled with diamonds. I seek the treasure in the trap.
The joy and the despair.
The peace of a simple life,
The beauty that was not intended.
but can be seen and kept as a gift.
A gift.
It's 5:30 p.m. Segregation food carts delivered.
My brother and me were working minimum wage jobs until we got on in prison. Not long after we started, I could see my brother wasn't going to stick with it. He'd say to me, "The prisoners hate us." I tell him, "They have their own world and we don't enter into it." He'd say, "Don't you see how these people live? Young people, old people, different colors, and a lot of them in here for life. It's a sad, hopeless place to work." So he quit and started mowing grass with a push lawnmower and a weed eater out the back of his car. Says he's a whole lot poor now, but a lot more satisfied. Me, I feel like I'm protecting my family, neighbors, society. I don't ever want to see any of my family the victim of a rape or murder or a child molester. I've learned to keep a cool head, never argue, do whatever it takes to walk away from the prisoner filled with pride and anger who is baiting me. But when this doesn't work, an attack ensues, I'd rather be tried by 13 than carried by 6.
This place ain't about rehabilitation. It's about fear. It's about anger and about humiliation. It's about power. Who got it and who ain't.
It's about staying strong no matter